detested Christianity, Judaism. Marx loathed. Marx, grandson of two rabbis, was actually an anti-Semite. There's a loathing of the Bible and the Judeo-Christian worldview for good reason, because they're antithetical. So I'm going to show you some verses that are inimical to the left. But, of course, your kids will not have studied them because Bible study has been dropped from American life for now almost, I would say almost 100 years, maybe 80 years. It was the norm to teach your children Bible stories and the Bible and aphorisms from the Bible, and now nothing. I wonder if the average Harvard junior or even rising junior, I like that, it's a new term, I've mastered it, or rising senior, I should say, knows who Cain and Abel were. And I got to tell you something. If you don't know who Cain and Abel were, you don't know a damn thing about the Bible. That's pretty basic. I don't even know what they would know. They could name the four Gospels. They would be a blank on virtually anything. I wonder if they could identify Noah, because Noah's Ark is so famous. Be that as it may, I'm going to bring you some Bible quotes that are antithetical to leftism. And so you will have a choice. You can follow the left or you can follow the Bible, but you can't do both. I know that there are some Jews and Christians who claim that they get their leftism from the Bible. My friends, people have made claims that are absurd throughout history. Okay, so I think the number one example of a biblical verse that is the antithesis of leftism is about the heart. Everything left is feelings-based. The Bible doesn't buy that. It completely mistrusts the heart. The left is based on the heart. The compassion is a beautiful trait, but everything is based on the heart. So here are two verses. Numbers 15:39. Remember all the commands of the Lord that you may obey them. This is one of the few correct translations of the verse, the NIV version, New International Version. Remember all the commands of the Lord that you may obey them and not prostitute yourselves by chasing after the lusts of your own hearts and eye. Now, they added the lusts from the Hebrew. I know the Hebrew well, so that's one of the reasons I've written a Bible commentary. Which reminds me to remind you that this is the magnum opus, the big work of my life, is the Bible commentary, the third of my 5-volume commentary on the first 5 books. Will be coming out later this year. It is Deuteronomy, the 5th of the books. I'm not going in order. Genesis and Exodus are already out. It's called the Rational Bible. And if you read the 2,500 reviews that are there, you will see how deeply it has touched people's lives. The Rational Bible. So Numbers 15:39 is a rebuke of the idea that you should follow your heart. You prostitute yourself when you follow your heart. That's what the Hebrew actually says. That's correct. And Jeremiah 17:9, the heart is deceitful above all things and desperately sick. Who can understand it? Whew. It's pretty intense. The left is feelings-based. How you feel is what matters, and it is applied now to everything. It's not just morality. How I feel, I define good and evil. It's everything. I define my gender. If I feel male, I'm male. If I feel female, I'm female. This is part of the interesting and very powerful issue in American life today. So if you feel if you feel female and you're a male, you can now compete against females in track. You are what you feel. There is no objective sex. There is no objective answer to 2 plus 2. As I've reported to you, the Oregon Education Department has now announced that the idea that there is one right answer in math is white supremacy. Okay? It's a white supremacist notion. So even math answers are felt. Growing up and not trusting your heart is one of the greatest gifts that I was given to try to be a good man when I got older. And that's the purpose of life. Try to be a good man or a good woman as you get older. All right, so that's example number 1. Example number 2 of the Bible verses that are the opposite of progressivism or the left. Leviticus 19:15. Do not pervert justice. Do not show partiality to the poor or favoritism to the great, but judge your neighbor fairly. Do not show partiality to the poor? Woo! That's a disqualifier from the world of the left. That's right. That's the whole point. That is social justice. Why don't they use the word justice on the left? Because justice and social justice have nothing to do with one another. Social justice is to justice what people's democracy is to democracy. It's the opposite. Social justice is the opposite of justice. People's democracy is the opposite of democracy. Otherwise, they'd say justice. So, yes, you are supposed to change justice for the poor man, or now the black man, or the person of color. The opposite of the biblical admonition. You cannot change justice for the poor man. Poor man and rich man come into court. You do not favor the poor or the rich. 1-8-Prager-776. If you've got verses, I've got more. The conflict between the Bible and the left on this edition of the Ultimate Issues Hour.